Good morning, everybody. How y'all doing? Let's roll through the chat right quick. We got Trail Dust in first, Shane Lalone, Stephen Parsons, Anson Ivy in the house. What up, Anson? Jack Pines and Bloobs popped in to say hello. What's up, Transcendental Artist Studios, Speargrass Forge, and now that's everybody. 10 viewers. Dylan Corwin in the house. And of course, hello to all the lurkers. How y'all doing? Y'all having fun?
Having a fantastic week.
Yeah. Mr. Coffee, how you doing? All right. Well, we're getting our week getting ready to get kicked off. And yeah, so I guess we'll just jump right into it with the How Was Your Week segment. And so Alexis, how was your week?
Well, my week was pretty darn good. I do have to say, I got a few days of work in just before I left, which thank goodness it's just enough to basically make my insurance payment and whatever when I get back. So I'll only have 4 days on my next paycheck, which would be the 4 days I just worked, and that's okay. By golly, I got on a plane yesterday morning. Well, let me see. I woke up at 10 p.m. because I came off of a night shift, and I went to bed in the afternoon, whatever. I slept till 10 p.m. and then I woke up and I was like, well, I guess I better get ready to go at 10 p.m. And so, got myself all ready, got my my bags finished, packed up, and then I just kind of sat around waiting. I wound up with like 2 hours to spare before I had to leave at like 3. And I played a little bit of 7 Days to Die, and then went and woke my cousin up and was like, hey, take me to the airport, let's go. And gosh, got in there. I did have a little bit of problem in the baggage claim for some reasons I won't really get into, but got it ironed out real quick and easy. TSA pre-check is freaking amazing. Just sail right on through. Nobody gives a crap. And yeah, I got on the plane. They boarded us early because everybody was there and checked in ahead of time, and so they boarded us a little bit early. And then it's only a 40-minute flight from Midland to Dallas. So I mean, it's like you go up and then you come down. That's all there is to it. And there was no traffic at DFW when we landed. We landed at 5:40 ish. And or 5:30, something like that, and it's usually 20 minutes on the ground before you can get to the terminal. Straight up to the terminal, there wasn't another plane out there, and so we wound up being 27 minutes early to the terminal. It was freaking great. Well, for those people that had close connection times, it was pretty awesome. I had a 4-hour layover. I always give myself time to eat and go to the bathroom. What I didn't count on, though, is none of the restaurants at DFW are open till like between 8 and 10. And so there was no place really for me to eat other than Dunkin' Donuts, McDonald's, Whataburger. And I mean, it's like I could eat there anytime. Why would I eat there at an airport? So
Whataburger. Are their burgers made out of water?
No, it's a Texas thing. You wouldn't understand.
Whoa.
And anyways, yeah, so I got in here. I got into Norfolk yesterday at, what was it, about 3 o'clock, I guess, something like that. Yeah. And Yamez is out there making the loop to pick me up, and
I drove that loop probably 20 times.
Yeah, and so I had one bag, one of my bags came out, and I'm like, what the hell, and so I'm like, I'm not just gonna stand here and hold it. So I went outside, and then Yamez came by on a loop. I threw one suitcase in the back of his pickup, and I was like, I gotta wait on the other one, I'll be back. And I go inside, and then like the carousel gets hung up because a couple bags got caught in the conveyor coming up, and so we had to wait about 15 minutes for somebody to get that working again. And then all of the rest of the bags came out, the conveyor shut down, there's nothing left on it, and my bag's not there. And I'm like, you got to be freaking kidding me. First class passenger, priority baggage. I mean, like, sequential numbers, they should have been right next to each other, and everybody else that had 2 bags, both of their bags came up together. Mine did not. And I'm like, so I hollered at Yamez, hey, stop on your next loop. I need to get the number off of the luggage tag number off of the one you have so that I can tell which one is missing. And so stopped, got the number, went back inside, and I went into the luggage or the baggage service area or whatever, and my bag was sitting right there next to the counter. I was like, oh, that's mine right there. I was coming to say it was gone, and they're like, oh yeah, no, you have to show ID to pick that up. So this one would come here, not out on the carousel. I was like, oh, okay, now I know. So showed him my ID, grabbed my bag, and we were off. We went and visited with his brother, I think it is, right? Yeah. Over down the road a piece a little bit last night. Had dinner and came back here. And it was all I could do to be like, Yames, I've been up for 24 hours. Can we just like not watch this movie right now? I'd like to. Oh, what?
You seemed so excited.
Yeah. Oh gosh, it was tough. I was tired last. I'm still a little bit tired, but we got a full day today. I mean, it's gonna be assholes and elbows, and there's
pretty much the show. If it has to run short, it'll run short. But yeah, so what was it? So the big thing with going and visiting my brother is y'all have heard me talking about the Windfall House for the past
forever
5 years, and so Alexis finally got to see the Windfall property. Anyway, I'll piggytail on what was said in that to give my part of the week after these messages. Adam, you've got your
so I'm going next. All right. So I've had an absolute hectic, flat out week. As people who follow me on Instagram might have seen, for those of you that don't, I'll bring him up and show. So I started out the week basically putting together a temporary shed to. I say temporary, it's a permanent structure, but it's going to be temporarily my workshop as I'm taking part in this year's Sam Towns Bowie build-off. So I've been doing that. I did that on Tuesday and Wednesday, finished welding the structure together. The posts have been in for a few months now, but finished welding the structure together and screwing some corrugated iron on in order to get, some sort of cover. It's been upwards of 38 degrees here most days this week, which is 100 odd degrees Fahrenheit. So it's been hovering between 90 to 100 degrees Fahrenheit. So I've been doing that, and then on Thursday I think Thursday I didn't. No, Thursday I did.
I'm showing the pictures Thursday. Right now.
Anyway, later on in the week I ended up going and going live on Instagram and had a few issues with it because I was streaming on my phone, nearly dropped my phone in my water quench bucket, and dropped reception a couple of times, but I spent a couple of hours live streaming on there, and for rough forged the Bowie. So for one of the Bowies, because I'm actually planning on making two, I'll quickly send through to the chat a picture of the actual plans that I've got for the knife I'm making. And no,
I'm sure they'll get into the list.
And it'll get into the list. But yeah, my phone's being a little bit average at the moment. There we go. So
where's the banana for scale?
Where's the banana for that? It's that rough forge with about 10.5 inches long for the knife. It's a little bit bigger than I'd planned on making. I just sent through that picture then to Yames for the plans of the two Bowies I'm actually making. And then in the evening times, particularly the last couple of days, I've been knuckling down and really starting to put together the first rough draft of the Practical Blacksmithing Companion. I'm currently 32 pages in, and it consists so far entirely of description of old forges and basically how to build your own forges, descriptions of tweers and makeshift tweers, descriptions of how to tell if coal's good, and building fires out of coal. and a little bit about charcoal, because basically you can treat charcoal just like coal, essentially, when you're actually using it and building a fire, and a little bit about anvils and fire forge fire tools, tools that you need in order to maintain your forge fire. But that's I'm already 32 pages into it, and I've got a heap of information, that's only just scratching the surface. I've barely even gotten into it, so it's been a really, really productive week, and I'm actually really happy with what I've gotten done. So and for anyone that actually watched my live stream, I had a couple of personal friends of mine watching it as well. They could tell the sheer joy that I had of being back in the forge and swinging a hammer again. I have in the last couple of years where I haven't been able to actually do it much, apart from when I've been doing demonstrations and stuff like that. It's taken its toll on me. Not in a mental and emotional way, it being back in that forge and being able to swing a hammer again and being productive and making something has been really, really good for my heart, my soul, my spiritual well-being. We've been on and another reason why I had to build the workshop is because we've been on a total fire ban for the last at least a month, because we've had some really bad bushfires here. Not global scale, but it's been for this time of year. We've had a lot of wind and it's been pretty bad for the bushfires. So I had to make sure I didn't want the fires coming and kicking my butt. So I wanted to make sure that I had some sort of enclosed area that I could work, that I could still get the breeze through and stuff like that. And also, anyone who's ever done blacksmithing in the sun knows that it's A, you can't see things properly, and B, it is an absolute pain to smith in the sun. So and particularly with temperatures as they are where I live. But it's been, even though I was sweating buckets, I drank in the 3 or 4 hours that I was smithing. I drank about 6 liters of water just to keep the fluids up and keep healthy. But I've got a bit of scale flying and copped a couple of burns and touched the hot tongs, and I realised just how out of forge fitness I am. But it was cleansing in a way that I've forgotten it was. So it was really, really good. And I fired up my gas forge again for the first time in a couple of years. And I was supposed to go smithing again this morning and yesterday morning. Of course, it's Sunday night here, as most people know. But yeah, this morning being Sunday morning and yesterday morning being Saturday morning, I was supposed to go smithing again. But because I was using a little, it's a 5 kilo bottle, but I think it's a 20 pounder or something like that, one of them small little barbecue gas bottles to work on my forge the other day. And I thought I had one of the big 100 pounders, they're 50 kilo bottles, which I use for my house, for my gas stove and everything in the house. I thought I had a spare one of them that was full. I went to go connect it on Saturday morning and it was empty. So I've got to wait until next week to order a new one in. So it's kind of like a bugger. So I had to put everything on hold. Did a bit of profile grinding on one of the knives that was pretty much that's nearly finished, not quite forged completely yet. I've got to do a little bit of tweaking and straightening, but he did a bit of grinding on that and getting things set up so on my next full week off, I can really knuckle down and focus on forging and whatnot. So, yeah. And then this morning, one of the things that I did, there's a couple of local lawn sales this morning. So I went, only had about, $50 in spare cash, but I went to a couple those local lawn sales and got some really cool tools. Got a couple, one of the guys that with the lawn sale was for. They had it was a kind of a deceased estate, and they had some blacksmithing. The guy that had done it, he was an old school boilermaker. He was in his 60s or 70s, and he recently passed. So being an old school boilermaker, it's like he would have been trained back in the 60s. So he had some tongs and some handled hot cuts and stuff like that. So I grabbed them up. I was like, I saw, and no one else knew what they were. I was like, I'll give you X amount for this. And they went, no worries, too easy. And then I told them afterwards, I'm a blacksmith, and they were like, Dad would have really loved you. So it was a good little chat. And I also picked up something that I've never seen here in the Northern Territory before, and that was some plow harrows, the round disc disc harrows. I've never come across them in the territory before. Went to a lawn sale that was at a mango farm, and they had some still on some tie arms. So I grabbed them for $1 a piece, $1 Australian, so about 50 cents US each. I was like, no, I'll grab those. Thank you very much. They're going in my car, And
those
so
make
that was
good,
really good.
Those make good cooking discs.
Those make good rivet forges.
Yeah, exactly. And like I said, they make good bases for all sorts of stands as well. And like I said, I've never come across them before.
Use a wheel for that. You can't. Don't use a disc for that. Come on now.
I wasn't going to. I know you can use an old tire wheel for that. So yeah, but I've never had access to them before. So even if they'd sit somewhere until I find a use for them, I have some now. I have 4. I have 2 smaller ones and 2 larger ones. So and apparently the bloke that was doing the sale, he had an old forged single plow that he'd recently sold to someone else for yard art, and I was like, damn, I missed that, because I would have liked that to have that sort of thing for yard art for me, because of course being a blacksmith, I would actually know how it was built. Apparently it was missing the double tree to attach it to a horse, because that type of plow isn't really used or hasn't been used in the Northern Territory since probably the 1940s, 1950s, when things started becoming mechanized up here, with all the equipment that came over during World War II, both from down south in Australia and from the American forces that were based up here. So that probably would have been built in the 30s, so having that there and something that was built up here, or blacksmithed and been smithed up here, would have been really interesting to have. But unfortunately, that had gone before I got there. So, but still, I got something. Today was a really, really interesting day, and I got something out of it. So yeah, so that was my adventure for the week. Like I said, I've been absolutely flat out, and I've felt happy. I felt not that I haven't been happy previously, but I was kind of just chilling along. This week has been a really good week. So yeah.
My question to you is did you get blisters on your hammer hand, and did you get the claw on your tong hand?
I got a blister.
I got blisters on my fingers.
Yeah. I got blister on me pinch finger on me hammer hand. I didn't get a claw hand, no. I got a bit of a blister on me on the pinch finger on me hammer hand.
Right.
But that was good, it annoyed me to begin with, but I just worked through it. And it just kept getting bigger and bigger. But it's like, okay, I've got to build up that callus again. But again, it was a good hurt, and even. Like I rested in the afternoon after finishing forging and stuff like that, and I didn't ache. I didn't so I knew I was still using decent technique. Nothing hurt. Nothing. I didn't get cramps or anything like that. Apart from the blister, I was perfectly fine. So it was like, okay, I was out of practice. I was out of forge fitness, but I wasn't out of practice. So it was good, and. Like I said,
it's not like you started out putting your thumb up on the hammer, right?
No, exactly. I did actually watch the video back, and there was a couple of spots where it looked like I did, but I was doing that where it's I'm holding the side. I don't have a hammer in here, but I was holding the side of the hammer, particularly when I was doing lighter blows, and it looked like my thumb was on the back of the hammer, but it wasn't, because I'm not stupid enough to do that. But it was that pinch grip where it looked like it was right on the side, but it wasn't actually on the back. So yeah. So if anyone ever watches those clips back, one of them's about 2 hours long, but if anyone watches those clips back and says, hey, your thumb's on the back of the hammer, it wasn't. It was on the side of the hammer. And it's that's only for when I'm doing light blows and close up or planishing blows and stuff like that. Yeah. But no, I didn't lose I do have to work on some of my striking accuracy again, but again, that's from more fatigue or anything like that. But yeah, no, I'm really, really happy to be back working in the forge.
Right
and hello to everyone that's
Hello.
that's joined us. Actually, on that note, right, I actually wanted to go live on my YouTube on the other day, but in order to do that, I have to be 1,000 subscribers and 10,000 hours watch time. Now, I'm low on the watch time because I haven't put anything out in the last 2 years on my YouTube channel, which fingers crossed will change. I just have to get a battery for this camera because it's been sitting so long that the battery's actually proper dead. So this is a Sony, Sony.
I thought they were
cam,
called flat.
a ZV-1. Yeah, flat. But no, when they're dead, they're dead. Like it won't even take a charge.
I thought you have to say
this
unalive.
is unalive. Yeah. It's unalived. No. But yeah, so I've got to get a new battery for this so I can start filming again. And I need to get I've got that much information on my computer from doing these books that I need to get a large external hard drive so I can take a whole heap of crap off my computer so I can start editing videos again.
I recommend to get up to that 40,000 watch hour, set up the camera, set up a live stream on your computer, because you can do a live stream on your computer without having those goals, and just do like a 24-hour live stream of like a hummingbird feeder or something,
Well, in the coming weeks, particularly when I'm doing my hand sanding and stuff and fit up for the Sam Towns Bowie build off, I probably will go live a bit more because I'll be able to set up in here and do that. But in that note, like there's the watch hours, which is really what I really need to push. But on that note, I'm only 11 subscribers away from 1,000, away from cracking 1,000 subscribers on my personal YouTube channel, Speargrass Forge. So that's really exciting as well. It's been slowly kicking along over the last 2 years. We've had people joining and stuff like that. I'm really looking forward to putting content out again. But yeah, I just need, we're waiting for that 11 subscribers to kick over and getting the watch hours up again, and then I'll be able to actually go live on my mobile, which will make it a little bit easier, particularly when I first get my new workshop set up, because I'll have to eventually I'll have to get a Wi-Fi beaming, because it's about 300 meters, or what's that? It's about 900 feet away from my house. So unfortunately, I can't run a cable down there. I do, but I can't. It's too long for a Cat 4, Cat 5, or Cat 6 cable to run with reliable internet. So I'm going to have to get a point-to-point Wi-Fi system to get that running. And
you would need 9.
Yeah. So
Jessica McGee, how you doing? Yeah.
Hey Jess, how are you? Jess is a friend of mine. So
yeah,
she decided to.
I said that would be kind of crazy for 900 meters, because Cat 5e, Cat 6e is good for 100 meters. You'd have to have a line of 9 repeating routers to get out to your shop.
It's 900 feet.
No, so it's 900 feet.
300 feet
meters
is the max length. 300 feet. That's 100 meters.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. So yeah, it's because it's 900. My
900
feet away.
900 feet.
1,000. Yeah.
900 feet.
Wait.
300
No,
meters.
900 feet would only be 300 meters, right? Oh, that's what you said, huh?
That's what I said.
Oh, okay, yeah. So you need 3 repeaters.
Not 9.
No,
3.
okay,
That's why I said earlier when he was saying just run it underground, pop it up to a post with a repeater, pop it up to a post with a repeater.
Yeah, but you got to have electricity to all of those repeaters. So that's
you're also going to run
anyway. Yeah, whatever.
Just
have a little 5-gallon bucket over your repeaters.
Yeah, just run some 10-gauge wire, boom, 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 outlet.
Or you could spend half as much money on a
point-to-point Wi-Fi system and do that.
Right.
I want to see them big.
I've done enough digging, but yeah, no. So that's. But if I can get the watch time up and the subscribers up, and Jess just said she subscribed, so I now only need 9. But yeah, so 10. But yeah, when I get a new workshop up and running, at least until I get that point-to-point Wi-Fi system, I'll be able to use my mobile to live stream from there, and when I've got my camera going, I can
Wi-Fi
record all new
lasers.
sorts of Wi-Fi lasers. You need them damn lasers. No, Eric. I'm still Speargrass Forge. I just haven't done anything for a long time on it. Really, I've released one video in the last 2 years, and that was doing the lantern hooks. They're like the drive-in into timber drive-in lantern hooks. So or hurricane lantern hooks. So that's the only thing I've really done in the last couple of years. So. So
it's actually. Go ahead.
No.
I was just say it's actually quite embarrassing that I confused my distances there. It's like, oh yeah, your workshop is 1 kilometer away,
and to
I speak metric. Damn it,
wound. Yamez made the correction.
Yeah. What is the world coming to?
I'm a scientist now.
To be fair, the long boundary on my property is 1 kilometer long, right? So if I had the house up at one end of the boundary and the workshop down the other end of the boundary, it would be a kilometer away. But yeah, no, it's my driveway is about 0.5 kilometer, 500 meters long, and the workshop be about 300 meters away from the house, closer to the road. But yeah, so if I ever have visitors or students or whatnot, it'll be they won't have to come past the house. I've got a lot of work to do down there. The frame, like I said, those that have paid attention to my Instagram, I do have the frame up. But yeah, basically I'm waiting to get the money together because I'm going to have to spend about $700 to get the concrete. And that doesn't matter if I buy concrete bags and mix it myself. That'll save me about $100. Whereas if I get ready mix and get it trucked in, it's about $750. It's not that much of a cost difference for the labor that I'll have to put in if I did it myself. So it's just a matter of getting that money together and then I'll be able to put the foundations in. And then so everything's concreted down nice and safe. Then it's just a matter of putting the rafters up, putting the tin on, and I'm good to go to start with. And then it's eventually I'll be running 3-phase power near it, so I can put power hammers and all sorts of stuff in there. And and I've got plans. There's lots of plans going on in the future. And once I actually get it built and I get this, my subscribers up, and now I have somewhere to work, I'll be able to release more videos and get everyone involved in what I'm doing. And of course, I've got to set up my workshop. Years ago, many people might remember on my channel, I did a competition to design my new forge. So I've got to set my new forge up, based around the winner of that competition and how that was all planned out. I still remember, it's still fresh in my mind. I still have it somewhere in my the winner of the competition. I still have that design set up somewhere in my computer. So I'll be setting it up according to that plan. And it's going, and of course I'll be sending them photos as per the competition back all that time ago before I bought this property, or when I was buying this property. So I'll be setting up according to that, sending them photos, and I've got to get a new flag so I can hang it up on a. I've got to put up a flag post so I can hang up my pirate flag.
Flag post. Anyway, nice.
So how was your week, Yamis?
It's been hectic, but it's over. That's the important thing, and the new week begins today. So it's literally been just hurry up, run, making sure I get all the jobs that I need to get done before Quad State. I actually got done with the point where I only had, I had a lot of time off to, but worked on fixing the yard up, cleaning the room, getting the smoke smell out of everything, and then working diligently to add it back. And then back to, what Alexis was saying about the pickup. Yeah, so you heard her point of view. Now you hear my point of view. All right. So I was originally, the flight was supposed to arrive at 2. And I know how the flights have been lately. So I'm like, all right, keep me updated on arrival times, as you know. And the last information I have from the arrival time was that it was arriving at 2:37. I'm like, okay. I arrived at the airport at 2:36. Did the loop. I'm like, okay, well, obviously it'll be landing at 2:36 and not, or 2:37 and not, Alexis walking out the gate at 2:36. So I pulled up to stop because, like you do, you pull up, stop, wait for somebody to come out. And these militant motors out there, waving their hands and whistles, saying, "You can't park here." I'm not parking. I'm waiting for somebody. Are they here? I'm like, well, I think they're inside coming out. You got 2 minutes. And I'm like, wow. I mean, there's 10 cars in a probably 300-meter line. Okay, in a 300-meter parking area. That's 900 feet. And there's probably 10 cars there, and they're acting like they're freaking O'Hare or LaGuardia Airport. And it's like about 2 minutes pass up, and they go, "They coming out yet?" I'm like, "Do you see anybody coming out yet?" It's like, and they're like, "Yeah, you can't sit here." I'm like, "Oh." So I go around the loop again, and this is a small airport. This is a small loop, so it took me literally 30 seconds to go around it. And that's driving 10 miles under the speed limit for it, and I drive around, and I'm just looking, and the sun is shining on the windshield and it's not shining in my face, and I can't see unless I pull into the parking, the little pickup side, because that's where the shadow was. And so I drive around, pull over. It's like, nobody's out yet, you need to move, like whistles and waving. And I'm like, okay. So I drive around again, and like every time I drive around, one of the ladies there would be like, blowing her whistle. I mean, I'm moving forward, and the lady's blowing her whistles, going like this, and I'm like, there's nobody behind me. There's nobody. I'm the only truck here right now. Like, what are you doing? And I just, driving around, and then I call, or then it was like 42 when you put the message thing, coming in hot, and it's like, okay, out the door. And I'm like calling, I'm like, out the door or landing, like what's going on? So I pull over and park, and the guy's like, are they coming out yet? I'm like, I just got the message saying they're coming out. It's like, okay, well, the only one coming, what airline? I'm like, I really don't know. This is a small area. I figured I'd see them when they come out. And well, the only one right now is Southwest, and they're getting their baggage, so you need to move. And I'm like, really? So that's, I literally just drove around this tiny loop for 20 minutes. And keep in mind, it takes about 30 seconds to go around the loop. So I went around the loop a lot. And then I saw Alexis, and I pull up. She comes over, tries to open my tailgate, which is not going to happen.
I see that now.
throws her one bag in, and walks off grumping about losing another bag. I'm like, oh no. So I drive around again. I get on the Voxer chat. I'm like, well, I picked up some luggage. And it's like pulling and waiting, and I pull over, and I go, well, they're out, but they ran in to grab more bags. And the guy's like, well, they're not out now, you have to keep. I'm like, good Lord. And the one lady's like, oh, you could park over in the cell phone lot. And I'm like, why? I'm picking somebody up. And it's like, just drive around again. And then Alexis comes out and says, yeah, they lost my bag. And I'm like, well, shit. And so I'm like, all right, screw it. So I drove around to the cell phone lot, which is like a extended parking, for people who are doing pickups. And as I parked and pulled out my phone to kill some time, ring, it's like, all right, I'm ready. Well, shit. I said, well, you're going to have to wait the 30 seconds for me to do the loop again. So I got out of the cell phone parking lot, rolled over, got the bags thrown in the back, hopped in it was like, I'm like, I'm not even getting out. It's like, get in the truck, because we're going. Because while I was driving, somebody did pull up to let somebody in. Like they had stopped, and there was somebody, like the security guard walked to their door and said, "You need to keep moving," and like the guy who was getting in that vehicle was standing behind the security guard, and it was like the person's like, "Oh no, the person's right there." Like, "No, you need to go." And the person tapped on the security guard. So this is, can I get in the car? It's like they were that freaking militant. It was freaking insane. Yeah, they were treating it like it was a major hub of, world travel, and it's just Norfolk General or Norfolk International Airport. They got 5 gates, 5 gates, and what is it, like 100 foot between each gate?
There's 10 gates actually, and I came in on gate 9. I mean, yeah, it's
No, I'm at arrival, because some of them are multiple gate, like the 1 through 5 arrival plus. There's only one arrival pickup place.
Oh yeah,
yeah. 5 pickup sections split between the different airlines, and it's like literally, I could throw a football from one side to the other, and they're acting like it's this huge massive thing, and they're like traffic signaling, and basically give somebody a security jacket, and they'll act like they're the king's shit.
Yeah, and Ivy, I did like offer. I'm like, hey, well, you want me to walk to where you're at? And to be fair, I mean, like, it'd take him 30 seconds to make the loop again and come pick me up. It would have taken me like 10 minutes to get to him, because like I have no endurance anymore. So like I'd have had to stop 3 times and take a seat on the suitcase and catch my breath. I've been like, it's hot, and it wasn't even that hot out. Yeah. And that, I would have to say, though, the worst part of the whole experience is like, I didn't have a hair tie or anything handy. Everything was packed in my suitcase, and his air conditioner doesn't work. And so we're going down the highway at highway speed with both windows down. And so like for the hour trip over to Windfall, my hair was continuously stuck to my eyeballs. I mean, doesn't matter. Just whipped right inside there, and just like, and it's like, ow, ow, ow. And it just, and as soon as I get the hair off of my eyeball, right back in there and stuck to it again. So it's like, as soon as we got to Windfall, I'm like, all right, I got to get my bandana out, wrap it around my head to keep my dang hair off of my eyeballs. And note to self, I haven't driven around with the window down since I've been growing my hair out. And yeah, note to self, you got to have the hair in check, or it's a nightmare.
I have my style air conditioner in my truck is the X255, and it's freaking great. I love it. It conditions you with outside air. Hubcap, yeah, I remember the Midway pickups. Like, these people were more militant than that. Like, Midway, they're just like, do whatever you want, because there's no way we're controlling you. It was chaos. Yeah. But I thought it was funny, because it's like they were acting like they were busy as shit. And there were literally, well, towards the end there were maybe about 15 cars.
Yeah.
But like the majority of the time that I was rolling around, it was me and like 5 other cars that they wouldn't let stop. And it's like, at all, like you pull over and they start walking towards you. Well, you got way too much time on your hands. If you got time to stop and talk to me every single time that I stop, it's not busy enough for me to not have to be able, or to be, to have to keep moving.
I now know the meaning of the phrase, she was giving me the hairy eyeball.
Right. Yeah, and did you ever install the ball cooler hose to your X255? Works wonders. No, I haven't. I'm getting messages now. Oh, a hurricane.
Woo,
woo.
Wonderful.
Morning, Ryan.
Hurricane buddies. So yeah, I also remembered one more thing. I was talking about the book. So I can now say it, considering that both copies should be on their way to their respective new owners. I have finally released, and this also ties back into my friend Jessica that subscribed just earlier to me and it was in the chat. So my the poetry book I've been working on for the last couple of months for Jess Adams is now live and available on Amazon. It's called Under the Chestnut Tree, a collection of blacksmithing poems. And of course, that was inspired by Jess doing her reading of poems and stuff like that at the end of Roy's live stream. So that's on their way, and that should actually arrive to their place just before they leave for Quad State. Getting on the topic of Quad State stories and stuff like that, considering we got the countdown at the bottom of the screen. It's only a couple of days away now, and I'm really, really sad I won't be able to go over there. So that's on its way, and of course the other copy is on its way to someone that's in the chat this evening, and that's the wonderful, the amazing, the venerable John Coffey, who actually did the cover. He did a painting for the cover for that collection of blacksmithing poetry, based on a sketch from Longfellow that wrote, of course, the famous blacksmith poem that we all know. And so that's of course where the title was inspired by as well, under the blacksmith under the chestnut tree. And so he did a painting of based on a sketch that was done by Longfellow, and it turned out absolutely amazing. So but further to that, after whilst I'm working on my new book, the Practical Blacksmithing Companion, I'm actually working on a children's book, which will be it's or the working title is B is for Blacksmithing, the ABCs of blacksmithing, and it's going to be a kids book. A is for anvil and all that type of stuff. And I'm getting my friend Jess to actually. She will be doing the illustrations for it. She's a wonderful artist in her of her own right. So she'll be. I'm hoping to get her to do the illustrations for it, which will be kid friendly. And there's a couple of concepts in the book that we won't be able to quite illustrate because there's a couple. It's more concepts as opposed to actual things. But for those of you that have young children or grandkids or whatnot, that's something that that'll be available for you. As we know, blacksmithing kind of becomes our entire personality when you get too far into it.
Yeah.
Well, it does for me anyway. That will be coming down the line. F is for, in the book, I believe F is for forge, but say flux, and we should have a certain Adams show up. And on that note, g'day Thomas, how are you?
And we got a $7.26 super chat from Ryan. A little bit of coffee money for the Brick Road ride to Quad State. Thank you, Ryan.
Brick Road.
Let's get a hype train going here. Come on.
Wait. Oh, right.
And what doesn't get you for Quad State will go into the fund to get me over there next year. No,
right?
Because
paper hands Ryan is in Brick now too.
Yep. So on that note, with the talking about Quad State and stuff like that, just having a chat to Yamez and Alexis just before the stream about basically where hammer-ins or blacksmithing's gatherings started. Now, of course, with the research I've been doing for my book, I've been researching stuff that goes right back, all the written records that I can find, right back to the 1930s or slightly earlier. And hammer-ins are surprisingly not a new thing. First of all, you had your blacksmithing societies and unions and stuff like that through America and through a lot of Europe, which date back, particularly through Europe, they date back centuries. And so you also had your industrial forge workshops and stuff like that, which was common for groups to work together in your rail yards and stuff like that. So in that sort of context, it's not new, but in the sense of blacksmithing shows or hammer-ins, that's also not a new concept because there were particularly in the US as early as the late 1700s, early 1800s, there was blacksmithing societies, carriage making societies, wheelwright societies where they get together and they'd have and they'd be called brotherhoods or unions or whatnot. And they get together for their meetings, quarterly or annually or 6 monthly, and they would have their meetings and talk about how to benefit their members and whatnot. But then they would actually have a day or two that was specifically where they would get someone in to demonstrate a concept and where they would learn from a fellow smith on how to do something. Or there's also lots of stories, like the Blacksmith and the Wheelwright, which was a magazine that was edited by M.T. Richardson, the original author of Practical Blacksmithing. There were many stories and letters of blacksmiths, going on vacation or even just simply traveling specifically to go meet with other smiths and work in their shop. And this is outside of the old journeyman framework. This was fully experienced smiths that would go travel and meet and work with other smiths for the pure ability of working with other smiths and getting to know them for personal and business, and also to learn from them. They'd heard that this smith was really good at whatnot. And then there was also they'd have in these magazines they get beef where two blacksmiths would talk about they were the quickest horseshoers or the quickest people to make horseshoes, or the quickest person to sharpen a plow blade or something like that. And so these go ahead, sorry, Yamis.
Sorry, no, real quick, while you're taking a breath, which you do so very, very few.
Really?
I want to throw a quick shout out. Thank you, Mr. Jack Pines, for the $9.99 pair super chat. Yep, we'll buy something pretty.
See, it appears Jack Pines is watching on an iPhone.
Yeah. Yes. Now
iOS always has the .99.
All right. And then Ryan Sullivan wants to know if I'm going to set up the 360 camera. I have it over there. The trouble with, and I talked about this last week, the trouble with the 360 camera, I cannot go live with it, which is one of the big reasons why I wanted to get it. Was to do 360-degree live shows, because the amount to process that footage is insane.
No, it's still connected. There's just one hair hanging out like 4 inches below your beard, and I'm like, that's fucking irritating.
I've jacked people in the jaw for pulling my beard hair.
Pop that sucker right out.
The last person who pulled my beard here, I divorced. But yeah, the even recording a 360 video, which I might record one, it would be forever before, because that recording is a collection of information that then to put into DaVinci and process it and render it. It's like that one video, which was 15 minutes long, was like 20 gigs. And then once rendered, it was like 36 gigs to upload. It was insane. It took me a day to render it and a day or two to upload it. And I don't have that kind of processing power right now. I don't have that kind of, bandwidth right now. So 360 is kind of not a good fit for me right this second. But I do like the 360 videos.
It is fun.
It is fun. No, the beard thing, yeah. Last person to grab my beard was Tammy. She grabbed my beard, pulled it down, and snipped it off. Yeah, that's not the reason I divorced. But
yeah, Yamis prefers his hair being pulled, but
I don't have any hair.
Exactly. So getting
pull
back
my
on
wisps.
topic, now that I've had a few now that I've had a little bit of breath. So the whole so these magazines and stuff like that would set up competitions and meetups and stuff like that as well, where people smiths would get together and they would specifically hold competitions for sharpening plows or making horseshoes or putting of course, because we all know at once upon a time all farriers or shoers were blacksmiths, but not all blacksmiths were shoers. So So they would have competitions for that, nail making and all sorts. But in the context of those competitions, they would also get together and have hammer-ins and learn techniques and whatnots, to exchange tips and sell each other different tools or give each other different tools in the context of that particular meetup. So having a show or something like that, is not a new thing. Having a hammer-in is not a new thing. Now, just before Bortagov actually asked me, do we have hammer-ins in Australia too? Yes. So, of course, individual smiths. I've been to hammer-ins at Sam Towns and other Matt. Forget his YouTube channel name. He's also in Western Australia. I've been to a couple of hammer-ins at their place. When I've travelled down there, of course, and some of them have been set up. Sam and those guys in WA have small hammer-ins together, of course, with the West Australian Artist Blacksmiths Association. And of course,
NWA means something completely different in the States.
Yeah, in WA, West Australia. I think it's Wisconsin. No, it's not Wisconsin. Sorry?
NWO, New World Order.
No, NWA. Straight out of Compton.
Anyway,
it's tricky to rock around. That's right on time. It's tricky.
That's Run DMC.
I run DMC.
Yeah. So yeah, and then of course, once every 2 years, there is actually a blacksmithing fair, much like or in the same idea or strain as Quad State. I believe that's held in Victoria. It's, as far as I'm aware, I've never seen it very well advertised. It may be in those southern states, New South Wales, Victoria, Tasmania, South Australia. But, I found it by accident specifically looking for something like Quad State here in Australia. But yeah, it's only held once every 2 years as far as I'm aware, and it's not massively huge. I also know that, other smiths in different parts of Australia do have regular or semi-regular hammer-ins. Me being, mainly the only blacksmith in my part of the country, being Northern Territory, there are a couple of hobby smiths that I know of around in this region. That we don't really have one up here yet. I will be actually setting up and holding hammer-ins once I get my main workshop up and running, because I want to have those people around me as well, people in my region. It's also another project I've got, thinking about setting up a Northern Territory Blacksmith Association. I'd like to have a little bit more of a imaginative name, like BANT or something like that, just to make it a bit more funny. But yeah, that's in the future. That'll be coming later on. But that's also, I'm going to be setting up my new workshop area. Will actually have power and septic and that type of thing. Well, what I'm hoping to do anyway, so that when I have visitors come over from, if Yamez and Alexis ever manage to get themselves together to come and visit me here in my home country, they'll be able to I'll be able to put them up somewhere. Sure, we'll organize. You know what? I can actually organize for you to swim with one. Maybe not ride it, but I can organize you to get in the water with a living crocodile and swim with it, if you would like. If you ever make it over here,
ride or die. Ride or die. Ride or die.
Hey, I wanted to point. Crawford, what is your itinerary look like? I know me and Yamez, we're planning on showing up tomorrow, right? Yeah, tomorrow afternoon.
I believe the plan is to leave Monday morning.
Yeah,
like pretty much wake up and hit the roads. I'm gonna pack my tools and stuff tonight, and my clothes tonight, and then
And the only thing that would slow that down is if we don't finish my project.
Yeah, a lot of that's contingent on Alexis's assembly and. But we might, we have to check the garage.
If I can get I have to get assembly done. If I've got assembly done, we're good. Like
now, the board.
Yeah, I do have to have a.
Okay.
Well, okay.
If John has a board,
if John
or
had
even
a
live
board,
edge board,
yeah.
can that be attached?
No, that's fine.
There. Okay.
Yeah. No, it's just I gotta have all of the metal put together and bent appropriately before we leave here because I'm not gonna have that equipment to do it there. The wood part, I think John can handle, or I'm sure there's a place there where we can buy a board on Monday or Tuesday, or no, well, not Monday because we're not gonna leave once we get there, but like Tuesday or Wednesday, I'm sure there's a place where we can go and find a 3/4 by 6-inch wide board that's 3 feet long. I mean, that shouldn't be that hard to find. Oh, but what about, well, you'll have to bring the Lichtenberg thing with us.
Yeah, that's not a problem.
Okay.
It's a box.
See, it's conversations like these that make me really, really sad that I'm not going to be able to be there because, like, some of my favorite people in the US are all going to be in one place. And, doing stuff that's even just having conversations, like I'll be able to. One thing about being so isolated is I can talk to you guys in this format about my passion for blacksmithing, right? But most of the people I know, right, my wife completely you can see the shutters come down behind her eyes when I talk about blacksmithing. Most of my friends just don't care. And that's fine. I understand that, that a lot of them have topics that I'm kind of like, I don't really, not really fussed about either. But being able to be in a place where I could talk to my heart's content and have conversations about topics that I'm passionate about is something that I'm, I miss. I don't have, I miss it because I've never really experienced it. I know once I do experience it, I will miss it, but I miss because I don't experience it. So I don't think anyone quite understands just how much I would really love to be there. And like 2020 happening, okay, yeah, it led to my house and all that type of stuff, but it really, really pissed me off that COVID happened and it put a absolute kibosh on all my plans, right? And it's now pushed it back until, at least at the earliest next year, 2024. So this is 4 years later than I was expecting to be there is when I will actually be there. And, it's I'm heartbroken that
Me too.
So I'm going to be watching everything that Yamez and Alexis put online about going.
We are going to try on our respective channels to do. I'm probably going to focus mostly on shorts because
same here.
Yeah, they're easy, quick. Put them up. Let them go while walking around. You don't have to edit them. Just and it gives a brief glimpse in that moment of time at Quad State. Going to try to do a live, however, that is completely, contingent on signal strength. And speaking of signal strength and such, over at John's house over the past week, he's been informing us of the internet conditions, and apparently it fades in and out over there. So if we do not get to do a live stream next Sunday, we're going to make Adam do a lunch break live stream.
Hey, I wanted to point out John's been scared by his compressor twice.
Yeah.
And I wanted that is not a unique situation. My compressor is always turned on, and it'll kick on maybe once every 2 hours or something like that to refill because it does have a small leak. And inevitably, like I'll be doing something and my grandson will come running in, Papa, that thing in your shop, it turned on and it scared me again. Make it stop.
Oh, so when was the last time you guys turned your air compressor off and actually drained it out in order to make sure all the water and condensation's out of it?
Mine's empty right now.
Yeah, I have not done that to mine ever.
It's got oh man, you probably got gallons.
But it's it can't be because it's one of them small one that's got the two like 6-inch tubes that are like this long. So it's like the two. It's not a pancake one, but it's the two 6-inch long tubes with the electric. I don't know. It's a small one. I've had to rebuild it twice because it's locked up on me.
Morning, Roy. Yeah, I keep adding things to my priority list. But like, all right, so this year's quad state for me is brought to you by the letter B for brick. Crypto has been really good for me this time, and I've been able to grab some profits, and that is basically what's funding this trip, and also funded the repairs to my truck. And I've got kind of like a set order of things that I need to do. One of which is paying off my credit, right? I need a new air compressor. I need I was drooling over the Harbor Freight, big badass, $1,200 welder that, has push a button and you say, okay, I'm doing 1/4-inch steel, go. and you just, the point and click welders, and I really, 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 really want them. But that's $1,200. I suppose that'd be easier to buy than that would be easier to buy than paying off my
Oh, wow. That's crazy. I always turn off the air compressor when done for the day. Thomas and I had our air compressor catch fire this past week. Wow, Roy, I've never even considered that.
I think what I'll do is when I get a new air compressor, I've got a spot for it that's not where the old one is, and I got it right next to a panel. I'll probably put a shut-off switch on it.
Yep.
Oh,
Yep.
Coffee had a horrible short in the house. That's what it was. Now the internet.
Oh, internet's all fixed? Cool.
Yamez must not have wired it, huh?
Cool.
Weren't me. Don't blame me on that
hey,
house.
On that note, John, I'm probably going to annoy the crap out of these two in the sense of, like whilst they're there, first thing in the morning for you guys, which will be, just after I finish my, I'll be probably the first thing in the evening for you guys, just after I finish my work shift, calling up on Discord and doing a face chat with you all because I really, really want to be there. I really do. And I'm sorry I couldn't make it this year, John. I'm looking forward to seeing you in person as well there, mate. So, yeah. But yes, no, I agree. Even when I've worked in industrial workshops, in steel factories and stuff like that, we've used compressors and industrial compressors, and every day we would shut those off, drain out the tanks because I live in a tropical area where humidity is a high thing. We have 80% humidity most of the time. I think at worst it drops down to 60%. So we would always get a build up of constant condensation in the tanks. So draining the tanks, if for someone who lives in a dry area, it's probably not as important to do it as regularly as daily. But at least once a month, you should shut off your make sure you empty and drain the tanks. Also, it relieves the pressure on your gauges and stuff like that. You're less likely to get leaks if you relieving those pressure on the blow off valves and stuff like that. So the springs aren't going to wear out.
I have a question for like anybody that has an opinion.
I've got those.
Well, okay, no, I mean, I don't know, maybe a year or so ago, I got some new Victor gauges for my oxyacetylene setup, right? They had been recently remanned and whatever, nice gauges. They should last a decade or whatever. Now, typically, like what I've always done is set it and forget it. Like adjust the dials to get the pressures that I want, like 40 and 8 or whatever, and I just leave them there all the time. And well, I got to thinking, well, if I'm only going to use my torch once or twice a year, should I back those regulators all the way off to zero while I'm not using it for like a year? Or should I just, like I've always done, just set it and forget it? And I'm curious because I don't really know the right answer to that. And maybe it's one of those things like, well, propane's better than acetylene, acetylene's better than propane. Maybe it's one of those arguments where everybody's got a different idea. I don't really know. I'm asking the question because I just thought of it the other day, and I thought, well, maybe I should be backing off my regulators.
My take on that is I don't know how the bottles are set up in the US, but in Australia, they're set up with so you actually attach the regulators to the nozzle, and the nozzle actually has its own on off basically,
right.
Its own tap. At the end of use, those taps should always be turned off.
Right. But your regulators
once you turn it
set.
off. Yeah, because but once you turn that the gas is off, and it's the same with
the regulators
when I
don't
finish
matter.
the day.
No. But the regulator regulator is spring pressure on a rubber diaphragm, and so when you set it, it's moving that diaphragm to a certain position. And I mean, is it going to be under less stress when it's set, or less stress when it's backed all the way off? I don't really know. And that's what I'm not talking about the gas pressure. I'm just talking about the pressure on the diaphragm inside the regulator.
Putting basically strain stress on a rubber piece, let it sit at rest when not at use.
Right, and I don't know if it's more at rest when it's backed off or more at rest when it's engaged partially.
I would think when it's in its neutral position, it will be less stress.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think if you're only using it once or twice a year, I'd probably back it off and close it, simply because that way it's in its neutral position, and then
Factory reset.
and
But
if, I mean, for someone, I'll just finish. For someone that's using it every day, that would be less important because it's getting use. It's not going to harden in that position. Yamas, go ahead. Sorry for.
I just said it's in factory reset.
And I was thinking, and it occurred to me because of the torque wrench. If you use a torque wrench, every time you're done with the torque wrench, you reset it back to 0. You don't go, well, all I'm going to do. I mean, you don't buy 2 torque wrenches. So let's say you're rebuilding small block Chevys. You don't set one at 60 pounds for the mains and one at 45 pounds for the rods, and then just leave them there forever, and then just go, oh, that torque wrench is for the mains, this torque wrench is for the rods. No, it doesn't matter. I mean, you always, when you're done with it, you back it off to 0 and put it away, because if you don't, that spring inside the torque wrench gets weaker over time of being under constant tension, and so your torque value gets lower and lower and lower over time if you don't back it off. And I thought of that, and I kind of thought, I wonder about them regulators, because it's the same thing. It's kind of like a brake chamber on a truck. It's a rubber diaphragm with a spring behind it pushing it out, and then the thumb screw or whatever pushes against that rubber diaphragm, and whatever the little valve thing is, it's on the other side of that as well, that allows the certain amount of pressure through. So,
yep. I'd probably recommend backing it off when it's not in use, particularly if you only use it twice a year. But I mean, if you have set pressures or whatnot that you use, maybe get a permanent marker and just mark that on your dials that you know where those.
But it's not hard to do. I mean, you just turn your bottle on, and then you just take your screws and you go till you get where you need, and then you trigger your hose and make sure it stays there, and you can adjust or your oxygen, or you turn the acetylene on, and then so that it doesn't, you don't set it when it's not running, and then when you turn it on, it dips like 10% or whatever. So, it's not hard. It literally takes 20 seconds to set your regulators, starting out. So it's not like it's a large inconvenience. So, especially if I'm only going to use it for a year, that's fairly easy to just turn the bottle on. There we are. Let's go to work.
On that note, for those that haven't been super long term listeners, or those that are just joining us again after a long absence, I'm looking at you, Anson. The oxyacetylene cutting and welding was actually invented by blacksmiths to make their life easier. Because you want me to prove it? I have to go through some of my research and find the article, but I can. Reason being is because whilst acetylene was discovered by scientists, chemists and scientists back in the day, the uses for it in cutting and welding was actually created by blacksmiths in order to make their lives easier. Oxyacetylene welding and the processes of it was first described in the mid to late 1800s. By blacksmiths in order to spread the word, and that's how it got used in boiler making and for railroads and stuff like that, because it's really hard to forge weld big pieces of steel like that, and so they got used oxyacetylene to weld railway tracks and all that type of thing together, or parts of different trains together when they broke, and it was the first port until electro welding became a thing. Oxyacetylene was the first portable welding setup, so they could fix things on the run. A little bit of a history lesson for those that are interested. It's surprising with just how much it's been a saying, the back of the modern world built on the back of an anvil, but when you really get into looking into it, it's just surprising just how much
It
and
really
just
is.
how true that is.
Yeah.
Like I can name 5 different trades that exist today that were all originally in the purview of blacksmithing. So you have just starting with, of course, mechanics, automobile car mechanics, and truck mechanics. That was blacksmiths. Of course, any to do with railways, carriage building, stuff like that. Blacksmiths. Your machinists, your precision machining. That was all blacksmiths. Even to tire fitters, which of course is now rubber, but originally tire fitters, wheelwrights. That's what it was. Blacksmiths. And that's not including welders, boilermakers. Boilermakers literally being people who made boilers for steam trains. There's 7 straight off the top of the welders and boilermakers. There's 7 trades that are essential to nowadays that were originally blacksmithing. So yeah,
If
it's
I may,
Guten Tag, Jürgen.
Guten Tag. If I may, kind of leave it at bouncing off of that, the whole modern technology based on the back of an anvil and whatnot. Me and Alexa were watching a video this morning on robotic. What was it called? What was it?
Pressure forming.
Pressure forming metal using robot arms, 2 robot arms with little tips, and one pushing against the other, and they like basically move the thing. And if you think about it, that's literally an anvil and a hammer pushing the metal. Brand new technology, robotics, using the hammer and anvil technique, essentially. When you boil it down to what,
if you guys want to check that out, that's that channel is called Smarter Every Day. Destin with Smarter Every Day does a wonderful job of just deep diving into just the craziest things you'd never think of. Like I know he did a whole series on a U.S. nuclear submarine under the ice in Antarctica, and like he was on the submarine with the U.S. Navy under the ice.
Oh, that's that guy?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, and he's done a lot. He's done stuff on rockets. He's done stuff on rockets, like he went and had a whole tour of what's that place? ULA, United Launch Alliance, with Tory Bruno. I mean, bullets hitting bullets. He's done that with the getting 2 bullets to collide dead even in midair.
I could do that.
And so if you guys get a chance, if you haven't and you're not subscribed to Smarter Every Day, he's got some really good stuff, and he puts out like it's not a lot of content, like maybe a video a month on the same kind of release schedule as about the same kind of release schedule as Mark Rober. That 12 videos a year, but they're high quality, well researched.
Or Hacksmith Industries.
Huh?
Hacksmith Industries.
What's that?
Hacksmith, where they do like they used to do daily videos or weekly videos or whatever, and then they cut down to like 1 or 2 videos a year, but like they're like massive quality videos, massive projects where they took and they built a spider mech out of ride-on excavator, and they focused on that instead of content, instead of like random content. They like, okay, we're gonna focus on legit projects and give update videos as we do it, and like the projects that they're working on take years to do, so like they're down to like 2 or 3 videos a year, but they're quality content. I prefer that quality over content.
I can't think of anything, John. I know. I mean, like I've got to stop along the way to pick up some things that are just particular to me. So no, I think we're good on the shopping trip. You?
I'm good. As far as I can think of. No, not like us. We're low maintenance. I just need to know
for yourself.
I would need to know if I'm using Penny's tent or if I need to bring mine. That's pretty much all I need to know. And
And I'm assuming mine got dried out and put away because it was all sopping wet when we left, so I had to leave it up.
This will be the first year that we probably won't deal with rain.
Yeah, it is actually looking like, looking at the weather, that we're not going to get sopping wet this year. That's
just a little
cool.
moist.
Yeah, we'll get the dew point.
Yeah.
We'll get the dew point, but other than that, should be all right. We don't have to worry about floating away.
I am a very cheap date. I'm a very, very cheap date. Taco Bell and a foot rub, and I'm yours, Thomas.
I saw those feet.
I'm gonna be on celebrityfeet.com.
Somebody really needs to get to the spa and get a pedicure and get an angle grinder after those toenails and those heels, because woo-hoo, man.
Oh my golly.
Got a fucking ogre. Oh, sorry. We got an ogre over here just like.
Can I say? I'm good with my feet.
I don't want to know.
No.
I
Steven,
really don't want to know what you've been.
You don't have to slip a roofie in my drink. You don't. I'll put out for a freaking Taco Bell pack.
He'll gladly put out for a cheeseburger today and pay you back on Tuesday. Well, I don't know. None of that made
You get the Popeye joke.
You know what
I
I
get
was
it.
trying to get at? What's that guy's name? Wednesday? No. What's that character's name? I'll gladly pay you on Tuesday for a hamburger today. Or who is it?
It's from Popeye.
Yeah, I'm the character's name though. Gosh dang it, Wimpy.
Oh, you know what? I really kind of feel like watching the Robin Williams version of Popeye. Such a great movie. But anyway, we digress severely.
Yeah, and it is 11:15, and we've really got to get out and get to work.
We've got a lot of work to do.
Yeah.
You know what? We'll take off. Adam will continue the show. We're going to do another 6 hours. So Adam's going to keep it going. And as
why not? I'll jump over onto my YouTube and go live while I'm editing the book. Yeah. Why not? And I'll get those watch hours up for
everybody subscribe
so I can go live
Adam
on my mobile
and watch anything he puts out. As a matter of fact, if any of you guys have spare computers, go through his old stuff, just click repeat on one of his playlists and just let it run for the next 6 months.
Yeah, let's get that watch time up so that when he cracks them next 10 subscribers that are going to take a year, it's that last hump trying to get over. You know what I mean?
If he does a 24-hour hummingbird or gator watch or a croc watch stream, and it's just have the camera set up on the the shore of some swamp or water or whatever, and just be like, there might be crocs here, and then people will just have it on in the background while they're at work just in case there's a crocodile.
All right, so
dead chicken carcass.
Bring your tent.
Okay. All right, I'll either bring my tent or buy a new one because my.
Oh, that reminds me. Do I need to pick up new chairs? I know they don't last forever, so I'm just asking. Those cloth fold-up chairs, they tend to not last for years and years and years, and we've had them there for like 3 or 4 years. So
that's right. Roy's going to be there, so I'm going to bring some chains and shackles, and we get souvenir.
Yeah, I can't wait to see you, Roy. Oh, plans. And I did just for everybody else in there. I did finally drop the hammer yesterday on the heavy hammer upgrade and the air assist, and so yeah, I'll be picking those up at Quad State. And any of y'all, if you haven't been over there, head over to ChristCenteredIronworks.com, BlacksmithBlanks.com, and there's about 16 other web addresses that all funnel into the same website. So as long as you got one of them, you got all of them. Get over there, get you some blanks or get you some tooling. He's got really good stuff, and I can't wait to put my treadle hammer together with all of the good stuff on it. And then I was even telling Yamez yesterday when we were over at his brother's house, it's like, man, when Roy figures out the auto cycling upgrade, I mean, that's gonna be the bomb right there. So yeah,
hashtag not sponsored.
Yeah, hashtag not sponsored, but hey, but you know what? That's a free sponsorship right there. You know what I mean?
We do a lot for friends of the channel.
Yes, yeah. We are the main reason why Mr. Roy over at Christ-Centered Ironworks, subscribe if you haven't, has reached 600 bazillion subscribers.
Yeah, I mean, you know, we pointed all of our people to him, and he just blew right up. I mean, we do what we can, you know, and if you guys need the same treatment, you know, just let us know. For a couple $100, you know, we can work some magic.
I mean, I'm nothing if not modest. I'm the most modest. You know, I'm so humble. I got humble coming out my.
I mean, you know, I mean, like between all of us, I mean, like I know, I personally have 3 YouTube accounts, so I mean, like I can get you 3 right there. You know,
that's 3,
or at least 2 more. You know, I mean, unless I'm already subscribed to you, but.
Oh, it's getting deep in here. We've got.
I was going to say, don't you guys have things to do?
Yeah, we've got to roll, so we're going to roll. I believe Jack Pines is coming up next in about 45 minutes. So I recommend you all roll over there and see what's going on in the forge over there. And for the record, just for the record, we are not the reason Roy is successful. Roy is the reason we're successful.
Yeah.
Gotta knock myself down a peg.
Yep. Well, I won't go live until after Jack.
That's pretty strong, wasn't it?
Yeah. All right. We will see you guys later. And if we do a live tonight, it will either be continuing to work on assembly or
we're going to do a live tonight. I don't care what you say.
Okay.
Unless we're in the middle of a hurricane. That might change things. But, you know, no, I'm here. We're doing this. Whether that's assembly or just forging some random thing. You know, we'll see.
Toothpicks. We're going to forge toothpicks. But anyway, we're going to roll out. And throughout the week, we're going to be doing random little keep an eye on our channels. Just do that for me. Hit that notification bell icon and share. Let people know what we do here. Anyway, there we go. Thank you all for being a part of everything. Thank you all for the channel members and the super chatters and you know, for all the moderators keeping Ben in check. Y'all are awesome. Any final words, thoughts?
No, I mean, I pretty much covered it. I think we can get right into Adam's outro and go from there.
All right, no worries. Just give me a moment while I
can play it.
Bring it
you
up.
Don't have to say it.
No, I'll say it. I like saying it. Gives me an opportunity to you know. Talk again. I talk too much. Is it still daylight savings over there, or no daylight savings?
I don't even know. I don't pay attention.
I'll do. No, it's not that. It's not daylight savings over there. So thank you very much all for you guys joining us. You can find Yamas on YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram. You can find Alexis at Transcendental Art Studios on YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok. And you find me, Adam, at Speargrass Forge on YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook. Don't forget, if you have any suggestions for the Tool of the Week, Metal of the Week, or any other topic, you can leave it under the hashtag Metal of the Week in the YouTube community chat on Discord, or you can email us at impracticalblacksmith@gmail.com. If you've found us on Spotify, Amazon Music, or Google Podcasts, we upload generally every Wednesday-ish, or you can join us live every Sunday morning at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. That's currently 11:30 p.m. Australian Central Standard Time, but check that against your local time, and that's at our Metal Forge YouTube channel. And finally, thanks for joining us. Don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button. And if you're listening to the podcast, don't forget to give us a star rating. We do appreciate your support. Everything that we do get goes back into the channel in order to make it more fun, more interesting, and get things happening to make it better for the listener and the watcher's experience. So again, thank you very much, and thank you so much for those people who super chatted. It does go back into the to the fold as well, either eventually getting equipment upgrade for Yames or Alexis, or getting me over to the US eventually for Quad State. But that's it. Thank you very much for joining us this evening, guys, and we'll encourage Yamez and Alexis to get on the road so they can get what they need to get done today and get out of here.
Bye.
See y'all.
Bye.
Gotta push a bunch of buttons. Bye now.